Get free tech advice for your business from O2 Gurus. Search O2 Business for more. Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here and you're watching our Samsung Galaxy Note Edge review. The Samsung Galaxy Note Edge is a Note 4 to all intents and purposes. You've got a Quad HD display, you have a 16 megapixel optically image stabilized camera, you also have an S Pen capable of up to 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity. Very neat stuff, but if you couldn't tell already, you also have that curved display across the side. It's nicely integrated into the user interface TouchWiz, and we're generally impressed with the phone overall. It's expensive though, so you're only going to want to look at this seriously if you have a fair bit of cash to spare. If you do though, you will be getting a very high-end, very attention grabbing phone. Starting off by talking about the design, and Samsung has got it right yet again. The Samsung Galaxy Alpha and Note 4 were the two first iterations of Note devices, of Samsung devices even, that really did look the business with their metal frames. The Note Edge carries that forward, and to the right hand side you can see it just dips very elegantly to this edge, which almost feels like it's like a waterfall dipping into the table. And that might have sounded corny, but it really is quite nice, slick and sharp. Speaking of sharp, that is also one of the downsides. It feels quite sharp against the hand. It doesn't feel mega comfortable. We're not entirely sure how Samsung could have had it dip like this and keep it comfortable. Maybe a complete curve round would have been better in hand sensation, although we'd imagine that would have been very susceptible to scratching. So what we're trying to say is it doesn't feel perfect in the hand, but we can almost understand why Samsung has given us that very flat line right there. Speaking of that flat line, there are no buttons on the right hand side, just the on-screen controls. Down at the base is a micro USB connector and that S Pen. Left hand side you've got that volume rocker, and up at the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack and a power button. On the back is a 16 megapixel rear facing camera. It's a removable back cover underneath which sits a micro SD card slot, a micro SIM slot and a 3000 milliamp battery. The battery is a slightly smaller capacity than that of the Note 4. It has got a slightly smaller display, though we reckon it has more to do with the fact that they wanted to get that curved screen on there and couldn't fit any more size. Still, whatever the reason, it does do well in the battery stakes, and we'll come on to that later, but we're going to carry on talking about the design. And on the front of this device you can see that 5.6-inch display, a 3.7 megapixel front-facing camera and that home button, two capacitive buttons either side, multitasking and a back button as well. As for the screen, Quad HD AMOLED display looks stellar. The viewing angles are actually really good for an AMOLED panel. On the right hand side you almost have a different screen on here. This actually is exactly the same display, it's just given its own almost independent user interface. The Quad HD resolution does mean you get a pixel density of 525 pixels per inch, so pulling that closer into frame you can really see everything just looks very sharp. Viewing angles, great. Color reproduction, great. Maybe off angle, the color reproduction hasn't got quite the integrity of LCDs, but head on, everything looks stunning. What's also really nice is the fact you can drop the brightness right down and read it comfortably in bed, or ramp it right up and get really decent outdoor viewability, even in direct sunlight. Again, not the best out there in terms of outdoor viewability, but it's still very good. If we were to jump out of that, and we've finished talking about the screen, but what is inside the screen? That user interface. It's Android 4.4 paired with TouchWiz. TouchWiz is pretty neat in a lot of areas. For starters, there is that S Pen. Now, we've done a couple of videos on the S Pen. We'll link through to them in this video. Make sure you check them out. We explain S Note, all the integration of the S Note widget, and we explain Air Command. So all the cool things that you can do, like clip the screen, grab sections of text from the screen, even when they aren't selectable text. What you can also expect though is the core TouchWiz experience. It's very similar to that on the Galaxy S5. Long press and you get an overview of your home screens like so, where you can change your wallpaper, widgets and your home screen settings. In our home screen settings there is an option called Flipboard Briefing. If we pull that closer into frame we can jump out of that and see to the left hand side suddenly it's introduced this very image centric briefing system, and it's very, very similar to My Magazine UX. We did find it kind of slowed down the user experience when swiping through our home screen, so we always turned it off, and it's really nice Samsung gives us the option to turn it off. In fact, pretty much all the annoyances of touch with Samsung does give you the option to turn off, but there are a few that make their way to the end use that you just can't avoid, such as slow down within the camera application, specifically opening it up, as you can see, and jumping into the gallery can occasionally take a fair bit of time. Generally speaking though, TouchWiz is much improved over its predecessor. The actual applications tray is very minimalistic and simple. The notifications tray at the top can be quite full if you have your IR blaster or remote control filling up the space, but you can of course minimize it, and you can swipe down notifications out of the way very easily, unless they're sticky like those. 2-finger pull down, and you can access all your quick toggles. You can also customize how your quick toggle menu looks, and you can really have a shed load of elements completely customized, which is great. What's even better about the user interface is the fact that that S Pen integration extends right through to the right-hand side of the screen. We were quite worried that it would only be incorporated on the main screen. What's even better about the user interface, like we said, is that right-hand side, the curved portion of the screen is independent and has some neat advantages. First of all, you can access loads and loads of shortcuts from either anywhere in the user interface or anywhere in the lock screen. So if we give the side of the screen a rub, it will actually show the time. We can actually swipe that up, and from the lock screen, we can access a range of applications, which is really neat. Jumping out of that, we can actually unlock the phone by pressing the home button and unlocking it. You can also see pulling down from the top, this is also where you have access to your ruler. We can also change that through to inches and centimeters, stopwatch, timer, as well as a flashlight and a voice recorder. Swiping that up, you can very easily drag new icons into the right-hand side shortcut bar, and you can open up your settings. This settings allows you to, if we drop the brightness a little bit so it's easier to see, manage your panels. You can also change the Express Me section, so you can have images in the right-hand side, which is pretty nice, using your own images in the bar. You can also have an information stream, a ticker for finance, sports and news, as well as the night clock, the edge screen text, so you can customize that. So for example, be text, and then that would appear on the right hand side, and you can also show the edge screen on the left. So were we to, for example, go back out of that and flip the phone around, if we were left-handed, we can see you've got the bar on the left-hand side. What's even better, you saw us just reach up to the top. You can indeed have those two capacitor buttons and home screen shortcut to the base when it's upside down. Again, for anyone who's left-handed, which is quite a nice touch, although it is quite awkward having the home button down at the base there and the volume controls at the bottom on the right-hand side. Generally speaking, we like what Samsung has done. They've pretty much done as much as they can do with a curved screen that we can think of, and the night clock functionality is really useful. When the phone is off, you can see a very dim night clock, and if you wanted to get a better view of it, you can just rub it like a genie lamp and it will pop up, appear right there, and depending on which way the phone is oriented, it'll display the way the phone you're facing. And you can see we have cats and cake on the right hand side because we've got pictures of our cats, and we just wrote a couple of things that gave it a little bit of personality. We do have to say, don't think that is particularly cool. Most of the applications as well that you can use in the right hand side aren't particularly useful. So if we manage our panels, you can see we have our shortcuts, we also have weather, etc., and quick notifications. That's neat. You've also got S Health, which will give you your step count for the day. You've got trending topics on Twitter, as well as a few other things. The one we tended to use all the time was the shortcuts, the weather every so often, and the step count every so often, but ultimately we'd be pretty content switching all of the others off. It's really nice to have. It isn't a must-have, so anyone who's thinking about a Galaxy Note 4 shouldn't really opt for this based on on the functionality of that curved screen, but the geek factor is definitely present, and Samsung takes advantage of it really nicely with the user interface. Definitely for early adopters with a little bit of extra cash. As for the multimedia highlights of this thing, the camera on the back of it is fantastic. 16 megapixels with optical image stabilization and a very bright flash. Unfortunately, you don't have quite the levels of color accuracy as you do with the iPhone 6 Plus with its dual tone flash, but it's still very nice and bright. There is a lot of processing going on, so it softens the images quite a lot, although in good light it will take an absolutely brilliant image. Fortunately, the video also fares incredibly well. It records up to 4K. It does saturate the picture a lot, but the optical image stabilization keeps everything steady, and of course that high resolution makes the world of difference. Even if you're outputting on this 2K display the Note Edge adopts. Gaming on the Note Edge is an absolute treat, thanks to the fact you've got that quad-core Snapdragon 805 processor. It's going to plow through anything, 2.7 GHz clock speed and 3 GB of RAM. What you can also expect from that Adreno 420 is a lot of future-proofing. Sure, it's 32-bit as opposed to 64-bit, but we don't think there'll be any games in the next year that this thing can't chew through and spit out. That 32 gig internal memory is also ample storage for your games, and your movies are also going to look stupendous. If we had one criticism about the functionality multimedia wise, it would be that loudspeaker is just not loud enough and very easy to cover up. Doesn't sound too great when it is sat down on a surface or a bed, but that's not the end of the world if you plan on plugging in headphones. What's also nice regarding multimedia is the fact you do have that S Pen, so anyone who does like doodling, like us, will definitely enjoy that. Make sure you check out our speed sketching video on the Note 4. The S Pen on the Note Edge can do pretty much exactly the same. As far as connections go, you're also very well served. With a Cat 6 LTE on here, you'll get the fastest download speeds anywhere in the UK if you're an EE. On top of that, you've also got Wi-Fi Direct, an infrared blaster up at the top, as well as Bluetooth 4.0 for all your wearable tech. What's more, S Health is paired beautifully with a heart rate monitor that has become more accurate than it was originally on the Samsung Galaxy S5 when it launched in February last year, giving you a generally accurate reading, maybe 8 times out of 10, which is no bad thing at all. On top of that, the 32 gig internal memory can also be expanded by 128 GB utilizing that micro SD card. As for the battery, the 3000 mAh cell might not be quite as large as that found on the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, but you really will be hard pressed to notice the difference, with battery life generally lasting around the same amount of time and generally lasting at least a day for moderate users. If you are a heavy user, if you are using that screen a lot, then obviously you may need to charge it a little bit by about 7 PM, but we reckon you should have no issues getting through a full day. And if you're a light user, you will rejoice because you could probably squeeze around 2 days out of this thing. Ultimately, therefore, the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge was one of those phones that was either going to be a gimmick or a really great phone. And at the heart of it is the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. So it's a really great phone. Sure, that screen maybe detracts a little bit from the in-hand sensation, but what it detracts from in-hand feel, it adds in geek factor. It is expensive, it is for early adopters only, it is a lot of fun, and it is definitely not the most useful thing in the world, but we like it nonetheless. Hopefully you do too. Hopefully you've enjoyed our video, and hopefully you've got some cool ideas as to how Samsung can improve the utility of this bar on the right hand side. We're really keen to hear your thoughts on this phone, and of course if you've got any questions about it or anything else, fire them in the comments section below. If you like the video, make sure you click that like button, and if you like BTech in general, click subscribe. Thanks for watching.